Howdy, howdy. Welcome to another session with Dr. Zero Trust, Chase Cunningham. I'm going to run through some issues that we're having with National Cybersecurity Awareness Month and cover a couple of items that have come across my desk over the last 30 days that are definitely worth noting. Stand by. Okay, so it's October, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Normally during this month, I would be doing something about kids and families in cybersecurity just because of the Sinja stuff. However, I've actually been kind of getting more involved in dealing with regular business users about cybersecurity and awareness. And over the course of the last 30 days, I think I had a really perfect example of what the realities of some of the problem are in this space. So just to give you a breakdown on why there's kind of a continued problem for a lot of the security that we have, let me give you a real world example. So there's a place that I go to daily. I don't want to put any company out there, but let's just say I go there every day when I'm home, and I've happened to notice while I've been there that the Wi-Fi is wide open. There is no protection on the Wi-Fi whatsoever. Being an ex-red teamer and being bored, I figured, okay, well, it's open Wi-Fi. Let's just sort of see what might be talking on this network. Used an app on my phone, which shouldn't really give you much, but basically just ran this app on my phone. Did a really quick, very cursory scan on nothing that requires authentication, so I'm not breaking any laws or anything like that. And interestingly enough, the way that the network was architected, essentially every device that was communicating or talking to that Wi-Fi network in the entire building was reachable, which is a big problem, which is not the way things are supposed to be configured, especially for a business that has people paying a few $100s a month to be members and has thousands of members. So big issue. Me being a good guy, I think, trying to do what I think is right, said, okay, this is not okay. Let's just do a little walking around and kind of see where else there might be a problem. So going to pick up my kids from the daycare and just kind of walking around the building, I can find the IT closet. The IT closet literally says IT closet on it. Looked at where it's located. Is it easily accessible? Is the lock sort of cipher lock or hard to get into or anything? Absolutely not. It's just a door lock. And then also doing a cursory sort of cruise through where all the business stuff is taking place, where they're processing credit card transaction, where the leadership and management sit and all that, can look around and see people not at their desks, but they're logged into applications that they're using for the purposes of business to process those credit cards and orders and those type of things. Okay, so now we have what you would consider to be a pretty big freaking problem. Not good. So, follow on to that, doing what I think is the right thing. I said, look, can I talk to a manager? And this was over a month ago. I said, can I talk to a manager? Sure. Manager comes out. I say, hey, my name is Chase Cunningham. I'm an IT guy. Like, I'm just letting you know, I think you guys have got some configuration issues on your wireless. I think you aren't necessarily secure, and people are not logging off when they leave their machines. Like, that stuff is not good practices. And that's kind of where I left it, just to let them know, what they thought. And to them, the manager basically said, with a look of I don't understand what the hell you're talking about, kind of like blink, blink, said, okay, we'll talk to the IT people. Okay, fine. So another couple of weeks goes by, same wireless configuration, walk around, same issues, people logged in, not at their desks, etc. Asked to talk to another manager. Another manager comes up and I say, look, I work in IT security. The stuff that you're doing is not okay. You need to have someone come in and fix and remediate this, and you need to either train your people or put something in place where when they're not at their machine, it locks the box. They can't be logged in and not sitting there doing their work. Like that's not okay. IT person, or excuse me, the management does this again and says, yes, we will call the IT people. Fine. Fast forward to yesterday at this place doing what I normally do, going to pick up the kids, doing the same walk around, looking at the same stuff on my phone, on the app and everything else. Same configuration, same problem, same whatever. finally say, look, I need to talk to whoever's in charge of this building. So after a couple of hems and haws, they finally go get the operations manager for the building. And I say, look, I'm an IT security person. I'm telling you that the way that you have this stuff configured is wrong. You're allowing your users not to be locked when they're not at their machines. Your IT closet is pretty insecure. I could get into it in about a minute if I really felt like it. And you don't have the monitoring that you should have in place to take care of everything in this building. Like, what you are doing is wrong. And I said, and I guarantee you're connected to the larger corporate network, which has access to things that would be a problem if someone was able to get into. This manager goes the same thing, blink, blink, and says, we'll call the IT people. All right, now it has been 30 plus days. I have talked to 3 different managers. I've been polite. I've been responsible. I've tried to help. Never asked for, payment for services. Never tried to sell anybody anything. Never tried to do anything other than literally offer some free advice. And nothing has occurred. In my opinion, this is exactly part of the problem that we will continue to deal with. Negligence and ignorance continue to propagate failure. The fact that the people who are in charge of this building, in charge of this entity, if you will, are allowing this stuff to occur because they don't know, they don't understand the problem. Even when someone is in their face telling them 3 times that this is a big issue, they just continue to blow it off. Guaranteed, in the near future, this organization is going to wind up the victim of a breach or an exploitation or a ransomware event or something like that. Because I can promise you, if anyone with a bit of experience in their background came in here, they could rip this building and this entire organization to shreds. If this is the way their practices are, this is the way that system is architected, and this is the way they let people run rampant with things, especially knowing that they probably have excessive privileges and those type of deal. You could ruin them. And this is a key point of exactly why we continue to have failures. People that are in charge, not taking charge, and actually making sure that things happen. The answer can't be, I'll talk to the IT people. If you're the ops manager, if you're in charge of the building, if you're the leader, whatever else, part of your responsibility is to stand up and say, I got this. I will fix this. Not, I'll contact IT. That's probably part of the process, fine. But someone should be tracking that down. When anyone comes to you out of the blue and says, I'm trying to help you, I'm offering you a solution, there's a problem, you're supposed to go fix that. If I went to that same operations manager and said, hey, I found a small fire in a closet in the back of the building, they would probably respond to it pretty quick. They understand fire. They understand how damaging that can be. They're not even thinking about how damaging a ransomware outbreak or a malware hit or any one of 50 things could be to that business. Ignorance and apathy is not okay for leaders. That should be part of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month as well. Another thing that came across very recently that I think is worth pointing out, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, as we wrap this up, is the Twitter parade that recently happened with a congressman in Texas. Won't put his name out there, but you could Google it pretty quickly and look it up. He represents a congressional district in Texas, my home state, right there, that has about 600,000 people in it. Problem is, this guy was in session and basically logged into his personal device and used a very, very simple all the same digit access number to get into his machine, into his personal device. Now, does that personal device necessarily have, highly classified information, or is it something that is used, solely for the purposes of congressional work? Probably not. But the fact that this guy flat blew it off when people called him out about it, and some actual really well-versed, well-known security experts called him out on it. He literally said, just another thing me and Kanye West have in common, giggle, giggle, snicker, snicker. That's not okay. That's wrong. On top of that, this cat happens to have helped co-sponsor a bill, HR 4458, which is the Cybersecurity and Financial Systems Resilience Bill for 2019. So let me get this straight. Your congressman who's elected to office, who knowingly is supposed to be a leader, is supposed to set an example, and is going to show that you have such bad security practices on a personal level, which almost guarantees on a professional level you have other accesses which are the same, way. And you sit on bills and co-sponsor things related to cybersecurity, but you are insecure. Not okay. Wrong. And when you do get called out on it, you shouldn't joke about it. You should say, you know what? You're right. I screwed up. I will go fix this. This is not okay. Part of being a leader is standing up even when you're wrong. And Lord knows I'm wrong all the time. And I'm not calling myself a leader. I'm just saying I'm wrong daily and saying, like, look, I screwed up. I will go fix this. It is not to joke about it. At the positions that these people are in, these leaders, they cannot allow themselves to be insecure on a personal level, on a public level, on a private level, corporate level, any of that. Having the same number of digits to log into your personal device is indicative that you don't give a shit about security. And that's not okay when you help co-sponsor bills on cyber security. Not okay. All right, last thing about this whole National Cybersecurity Awareness Month that I had a bunch of things come across that I thought was worth at least talking about. And again, two things I don't talk is politics and religion, because either way, people are going to disagree. Is this whole skiff thing that occurred with, leaders in a particular organization basically storming into a secure compartmented facility in order for a display of, togetherness or whatever. I don't know exactly what the rules are in that particular organization. I don't have the knowledge, so I can't comment on, whether or not that was a major violation. I don't know. I do know that I worked in skiffs for a long, long time, and I do know that I've had all the clearances and those type of things as well. And I do know that the one time that I accidentally forgot my phone in my pocket and I stepped my foot into the skiff, and luckily I didn't go in, I almost had a stroke because I was so terrified of what was going to happen to me professionally if someone found out that, oh my God, he brought his phone into the skiff. I also know that as a person that's supposed to be an example and set the example and lead, that it's, in my humble opinion, not okay to just do that. If you know that it's a violation of what's in place, if you know that there are rules in place for the purposes of keeping things secure, you shouldn't be taking your electronic devices into a skiff. Period. Point blank. End of story. In my opinion. Again, I don't know what the specific requirements are for this one skiff. However, all I'm saying is from the questions that I got and from people asking me to comment on it, is that I don't think that it's okay. I think that if you're in a position of leadership, in a position of influence, you're supposed to set the example. And the majority of those of us that have worked in the intelligence community in skiffs know that you're not supposed to take electronic devices into that facility. So set the example. You lead from the front. You lead by what you do. Don't take your stuff into skiffs.